Yo, what is going on, guys? Inzem here, and I know it's been a pretty long time since my last upload, probably around 2.5 months, and we're going to get in that as well, but more importantly, I wanted to make a video talking about how the Dragon Ball 2025 Battle Hour was just canceled, I think around yesterday. As you already know, or may not know, there's a lot of wildfires going on in California, LA, and the West Coast. And if you didn't know, the Battle Hour was also being held in the West Coast. And from my understanding, it was pretty close to the fires. I hear like a block or two, so it actually makes sense that it was canceled. It's probably a good thing overall that it was canceled. Obviously, you don't want to fly players out there to risk injury or anything. Even the things like air quality is a huge factor, probably why they canceled. So it was a good decision. As you can see here, this is the tweet announcing the cancellation of the event. Our thoughts are with those affected by the wildfires in Southern California, as wildfires continue to present a risk to the greater Los Angeles area, and to prioritize the safety of all attendees and everyone involved, we have decided to cancel the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour 2025 event. Originally scheduled to be held in Los Angeles, California on Saturday, January 18th, and Sunday, January 19th, 2025. And as you can see at the bottom, it's basically saying they will provide further updates for all the tournaments that are typically held during Battle Hour, which is Dragon Ball FighterZ, obviously, Sparking Zero, which some people may have forgotten, but Sparking Zero definitely was going to have their little world tour as well. The card game that's typically there, I didn't even know there was two card games, actually. Wow. But yeah, my heart goes out to all those affected by the California wildfires. I've never personally experienced something like that, but I can only imagine how much it would suck to have to rebuild and remap your life based off a natural disaster, any natural disaster for that matter. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's shift gears a little bit. What or where have I been up to these past 2.5 months? So last thing I kind of left off was the Sparking Zero arc, but as you all may know, that game wasn't to everyone's liking. Me personally, I had my gripes about it. I just kind of held my tongue a little bit because obviously the nature of the game isn't really meant to be competitive anyways, but I do think that type of mindset does harm a game ultimately, even if it's not meant to be competitive, because it kind of shies people away from just talking about the general health of the game, like changes wise. Jesus, I had to sneeze. Oh my god. But yeah, like I have my gripes about the game. I personally didn't say too much about it because I didn't want to have people harping on me saying like, "Oh, this is not meant to be a competitive game." Yada yada this, yada yada that. And I think ultimately that was actually a bad thing for the community because I think a lot of people ended up quitting due to similar reasons that I stopped playing. I did hear that they got an update, and that's cool, but that game might not be for me. I'll definitely still play here and there, and if you guys still like Sparking Zero videos on the channel, I'll be more than happy to sprinkle those in, but yeah, that's what's up with that. Okay, and as for the big question of Dragon Ball FighterZ, what is happening with this game? Where am I at with this game? A lot of people ask me a lot every time I'm streaming. They'll even DM me. Basically, with being as nice as possible, I really do not like the state of Dragon Ball FighterZ right now. I actually really despise it. I actually would go as far as to say I kind of hate the game at the moment. And I'm talking about retail. We'll get into the CE later. Despite that, full transparency, I actually was planning on going to the World Tour. It was a decision I made about a month ago. I was kind of at the point with the game where I didn't really love the game anymore, and because I don't love the game, it's really hard for me to go out and actively practice the game. I do this with a lot of games. I even did this with Gears of War, for those of you who remember me way back when. But whenever I fall out of love with a game, it's really hard for me to just play it. That's also a reason for the scarce uploads. But last month I made a decision to play in the World Tour, pick the best possible team I can, and try to force myself to practice the game. And the way I reasoned the decision was a few reasons, right? One, I wanted to practice the skill of being able to play a game that I don't really like, because to be honest, it's actually one of the hardest things you can do as a fighting game player, in my opinion. Just kind of force yourself to like really grind a game that you hate or don't like or even hate. And I might need that in the future. Maybe I have to play a character I don't really want to like. Maybe there's a game where there's going to be a lot of money involved, but I really don't like the game, but financially it would be the wise decision, which was also the case for Dragon Ball, obviously. If this World Tour was going to be anything like the last one, the winner was going to get 10K, so that was a little bit of the motivating factor for me to decide to play in the World Tour. But most importantly, outside of the experience of forcing myself to play a game and outside of the potential financial opportunity that the event would have provided, most importantly, it's the fact that I kind of already qualify for the World Tour, and despite me not wanting to play the game anymore and not really playing it, I still have a lot of people who did want to see me play, and I understand that. So if you look at it from a logical standpoint, there's kind of not really a reason for me not to go. So that was kind of where I was at, and I decided to play the game a little bit. Looking back, I did not practice nearly enough. Oh my god, voice crack. I did not practice nearly enough. And it's hard. I think, honestly, I failed. I did not play the game nearly enough to probably win in the World Tour. I couldn't force myself to. It was actually really difficult. So I guess it's kind of good news for me that it got canceled in a weird way. But yes, that was the big surprise. I was intentionally not telling people just because I wanted to like show off and be like, hey, that was good. And, like, out of nowhere. Yeah, obviously that went out the window. And the last thing I wanted to address in this video is what's next. We covered the cancellation of the World Tour. Delay is probably better to say, because I don't think it's canceled, it's more delayed. I covered where I've been at and what's kind of like my headspace is with this game, which I know a lot of people wanted to know. And the last question is what's next, right? Like, if I don't really like this game and I don't really play it too much, then what's after this? So at the moment with Dragon Ball, I really do not play it, especially retail. Dragon Ball CE, I play a lot. Used to play a lot, kind of play here and there, sparingly now. For those who don't know, Dragon Ball CE stands for Community Edition. It is basically a community-made mod where it's basically just Season 3.5, like the patch that Red Gogeta came out. Not to be confused with the patch that they had attack canceling and the half screen normals. That is not that patch. I know a lot of people misremember that. But it's essentially the patch where Red Gogeta initially came out right after the UI nerfs, the original UI nerfs. And it's a mod with rollback coded into that version of the game with a few quality of life changes, like super jump macro. You can hold S, which you cannot do before. And more importantly, special moves or super jump installed, which a change that did not happen till later, which is actually really good for that version because, you know, it helps diversify the cast. But yeah, I'll still play that game. That version of the game is still pretty enjoyable. I'm actually currently the wanted champion, so kind of have to play it. So maybe we'll upload those. Who knows? But outside of that, I don't really play this game. It's definitely I'm at the end of my road with this game, and I feel it, and that's okay, because I'm actually happy. I'm happy that this was the first game where I really locked into a fighting game, because I did play MKX before. There's a little bit of Inzem lore. I did play MKX before when I was really younger. No Twitter, no nothing, not in the community at all. I was just kind of, I wasn't actually bad. I was actually pretty ham. I can like take games off like pro players and stuff, like top 8ers. But That was about it. This is the first game where I really delved in the community and stuff, like dibble dabbled. And I'm happy that this was my first game, because despite what people may think, I actually think Dragon Ball is an excellent first game. Was an excellent first game to learn in general. And that's for other reasons we can get into in a separate video. But at the moment, most of my time is actually spent on playing Skullgirls. So might have some Skullgirls content on the channel if that's what you guys will want. I already know I'd be down for. Technically, I already have like 2 or 3 different Skullgirls thumbnails that I have not used from months ago. So I've actually been meaning to upload videos on that game. But yeah, like at the moment, I'm going to be hard focusing on Skullgirls for a while. Mainly because that game is pretty fun, and also my original goal in playing that game was to play it in hopes of getting comfortable with the mechanics, because they have a lot of similar mechanics to 2XKO, which is going to be the main game in the near future, like a lot of other players, like a lot of the competitors like myself. And yeah, it's going pretty well. I'm happy with the results so far. Like, I feel it. The things that was important in that game is I'm being helped a lot. So like, I'm learning in Skullgirls, so I'm happy I made that decision. But it's kind of where I'm at right now. Like just like a lot of people, the 2XKO waiting room, but I'm actually hard maining Skullgirls at the moment. I plan on going to Combo Breaker, so if anybody else wants to go to Combo Breaker, you know, if you're gonna be there, see you guys there. We'll pull up and say what's up. I actually will enter Dragon Ball at Combo Breaker. Me saying I'm done with this game competitively basically means I'm going to stop actively practicing the game and playing it. But if it's at an event I'm at and it doesn't clash with my schedule, I'd be more than happy to enter it. I know some of you guys would want to see that, but the main game for Combo Breaker will be Skullgirls, so we'll see how I'll do. My goal is to make top 8. I have a lot of time, which is nice, so I'm starting it out early, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I wanted to make this video to kind of catch you guys up to what's going on, talk about the recent events that's happening and how that's affecting the community, and most importantly, just upload something again to try to get back into the groove of things. So we'll see where we go from here. Anyways, I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. Peace.